Welcome to the WorkMax 2 webinar. We are so excited to share some information about our new app. If you have any questions, please feel free to post them in the comments and we will get to you in the chat. But before we get started, we would like to go over a video from our partners at constructionpayroll.com with a quick message from the CEO, Josh Stearns.
Hi, I'm Josh Stearns, CEO and owner of constructionpayroll.com. There are a lot of solutions out there to help you process payroll. When it comes to selecting the right one, you want to pick a partner that understands your industry. Without the right technology, payroll in construction companies can take days. We want to help construction companies take that process from days to hours. If your payroll is taking you more than 2 to 3 hours a week, go to constructionpayroll.com and check us out. We'd love to see if we can help you streamline your process.
Thank you for that awesome video, Josh. If you're currently on WorkMax and looking for a new payroll company, please reach out to Josh and his team at constructionpayroll.com. They integrate very well with WorkMax. Now, with all that being said, let's go ahead and dive into the new designs and process of WorkMax 2. With the new design, we wanted a cleaner look as well as making it easier for employees to clock in and clock out. As you can see in the app, we have the new display for our pin screen, which is very similar but just a little different as far as cosmetics go. Now you'll go ahead and punch your pin in as you normally would, and it'll pull up the new time interface where you can see that we have a better separation in our modules. So the time module itself has an easier clock in and clock out process. And for those who use timesheets, you can also see those here. We have our forms, our assets, and our insight all separated for those who use those, of course. When we choose clock in, the device at this point is then going to grab our GPS pin as well as the time that we're going to be clocking in. Once we get to this page, as you can see, we have our facial recognition, trying to pull up the camera, and then you have the date and the time. The interface itself is a little more easier for the employees and just lays everything out for them to be able to select. In this instance, we have our employee, and if you select on it, you'll have any employee groups that go along with that or other employees. We also have our locations you can pick from. And in this location, you can see we're at one of our parent-child job locations where I select the parent but can't clock into it. I have to pick the child job, or as some companies may refer to it as the phase, in order to be able to move forward. We also have our tasks that are required. So we'll go ahead and pick our task. And then we also have a few things that some people may use in our system, which is our custom list. This allows users to be able to add things like class or per diem for those who wish to track it. And then from here, if there's any reason to add any notes, of course, we can go ahead and do so. Once we hit confirm, it's then going to give you a green check mark. This is just letting you know that the device has captured your time and your information and is going to start sending it over to the website. At this moment in time, it may take about 5 to 15 seconds, depending on the connection, for the control center to receive that time record. Same process goes for when you're clocking out. You just simply click clock out. Now, it's going to be a little different than the clock in, as we have some employees out in the field that may use forms. These individuals will still get paid to be able to fill out these forms. So in order for that to happen, once you hit clock out, we grab the GPS location of where you're at. And then during this time, it is then going to allow you to fill in your disclaimer, enter any notes in for the day that you need to, and then of course, in this scenario, we have a form we need to fill out. So we'll go ahead and just essentially get started on that, and I'm done. Now from here, once we click confirm, that is the time that we will be clocking out at. And it'll give us a similar check mark, except for a red screen. And that'll take about 5 to 15 seconds to send that to the control center. Now, say you want to review your time that you sent in, or if you're not sure that the time has actually synced over, If you select the time review in our module, it'll be in the top right in green lettering. This view will show us the employee lists as to who is clocking in on the device. Now, of course, it's just been myself, so I'm going to select my name, and it'll bring down all of the records here that have sent to the site and or that have been captured. Next to these records, you can see the little cloud icons. These are letting you know that the time has sent to the website, and they do have that available now. Say we want to edit a record and we have the ability to do so, whether we're a foreman or we have the permissions to edit our own time, we're going to go ahead and select the time record we're looking at. In this case, I want to select my 4:38 p.m. In this menu that we're looking at, you have the same time review process that you were going through when you were clocking in, where you can pick your locations, custom lists, and even the per diem that you were using at that time. And you can change those to whatever you needed them to be originally. Say there was a mistake that had happened. In here, we also have, next to the clock icon, we have our notes for any notes that were input for the day. We can either add or edit those notes. The next icon is going to be our sign off. This is where you can sign off your record. This shows that I signed off for today and that I should be good to go now. We also have our facial recognition area and location, which just shows what GPS ping was used. Now, if we go back, there's also another way you can sign off on these records, and it's by selecting the bubble next to your name and then selecting either your employee sign off or manager sign off. Of course, you just go ahead and fill that in and then hit save. And that is our time review process. So now that we've reviewed how to clock in and clock out, as well as review our time, I want to go into the settings of the app and why it's important. So if we click on our menu in the top right, you're going to see a couple different options available, including a little icon with your photo and your name. Under this list, depending on your user's capabilities, you may be able to see other employees. Say you're a foreman, you can see our list of other employees that are going to be in the system, as well as the locations that are available to you. A good area to review under these settings is actually going to be within the settings themselves. So when we go into our settings list, we have a couple different options I want to go over today and what they all do. The first one is going to be our auto pull sync. So let's say we have new jobs coming into the system and it's Monday morning. The last time we opened the app was going to be on a Friday. So we're not seeing any of those new jobs yet. What this auto pull sync does is it takes any data when you open the app up and it makes sure that your app is up to date with the most recent job list. The second option we have here is Remember Last Locations. This setting, when turned on, will enable you to be able to just clock in without actually having to pick the location. The device will autofill the last location you clocked in at. This is helpful for when you have employees who are clocking in at the same job multiple days in a row. For the third setting, we have something similar to Remember Last Locations. This is just Remember Selected Employees. So whether it's one person or an employee group that the foreman's clocking in, the device will remember who the last people were to clock in. The fourth option we have here is a rear camera face capture. This is great for foremen trying to be able to use a facial recognition for clocking his employees in without them needing to take the device. Just turn that on, and then when you go to clock in, it'll flip on the back camera instead of the front. For the fifth setting, it'll be similar to the fourth, except for it's just the barcode scanner. So the last selectable options is our flatten lists. This option just simplifies the lists of jobs when you're looking at them. So if you have a parent-child relationship, you're only going to see a clean list of all available jobs for you, and it won't break it down into subcategories. And lastly, within your settings, we have our advanced settings. This should only be used in the instances where you need to reset the device. Once you reset the device, it will wipe all the data on the phone as if it was a brand new install. So it is only recommended once you've already synced the data off of the device to use this option. So now that we've reviewed our settings, we're going to go ahead and go back into our menu. And right below settings, you'll see our support tab. In here, we're going to have our email error logs and export device data. The main one we want to focus on here is email error logs. While you're working with our support team or with your administrators in the office, this is a useful tool to be able to see what's going on inside the app in case there's any issues that may come up. You'll simply tap on email error logs, see a list of options come up, and you'll either want to message these out or email them over. Depending on your scenario, or if you're working with an administrator or directly with our technical support, you'll probably want to email these out. Now, if you do send them an email, you can send them to our support team at support@workmax.com. Be sure to include some information in your subject line as well as the company name so we know where it's coming from. From there, we'll be able to better troubleshoot the device and figure out what's going on. So now, if we back out of our support and go back into our menu, the last option we have here is our training center. This is a great tool for new users to the app to be able to walk through some videos to be able to see how to use the app. You simply click on one of the videos that you're looking for, and it'll pull up a YouTube video to be able to review. Now that we've reviewed the training center, we're going to go ahead and go back. And in our menu, right below the training center, you'll see our sync button. This sync button will manually sync the phone to update any locations or tasks that your device may be missing, as well as permissions that may have been recently reassigned. It will also try to send off any unsynced forms data or asset usage sheets that have yet to be sent, and will ask you to do so once you press sync. Thank you for taking the time to review the WorkMax 2.0 app with me, as well as go over any settings you may have found useful. The next area we want to go into is going to be helpful tips, as well as transition between WorkMax 1 to WorkMax 2.0. So we've included 2 step-by-step videos for Android and Apple to review how to turn on the auto updates. For the apps on Apple, you'll want to go ahead and open up your settings. Then you'll click on where it's going to say App Store and make sure that app updates is turned on. These automatic downloads should happen over Wi-Fi, so it won't be taking up any of your data, and these employees will be able to do them. And then for Android, it's going to be a similar step. We're going to open up our Play Store, and we'll go ahead and go into our profile here, and we'll scroll down to Settings. From there, we're going to want to go under our network preferences and make sure our auto updates is turned on over Wi-Fi only. This will enable the app users to be able to update the apps without you having to reach out to them or having them to worry if they were up to date with the most current version to be able to utilize our most recent updates. So now for new devices and getting set up, when you first open the app, it's going to ask you a few questions, one of those being auto register device. We want to go ahead and select no. And right below it, where it says invite code, you'll see a upgrade from 1.0. And the app will actually give you a full step-by-step guide as far as how to upgrade and get the original code. If you're just starting with us or it's a new device, your administrator should provide you with an invite code that you can use to set up your device. So we'll go ahead and punch that in and click Activate Device. It'll start syncing over your data, including your employee profile information and any jobs and locations that you'll need for the device. For first-time users, once the sync is done, the PIN screen will come right up. You go ahead and enter your PIN in, and the first thing it is going to ask you is to set a default location. This location obviously will change with your clock-in process, but is required to get the app started. So go ahead and pick any location as default, and you can get started with your clock-in process. Now that we have the new device set up, we're going to go ahead and go over some tips and settings that you may already use. We'll start by going into the Control Center and logging in. And then under our settings, we'll go ahead and go to our device lists. And from there, we'll go ahead and pull up the device we wish to work on today. Now you can see the device name, the status is active, and who the device admin is. The device administrator is only there for when you're emailing out invite codes. So whoever you set the device admin as will be who gets the email to set up the new device. We also have our required location services here. This setting is great to have for those of you who want to fully utilize the location services and make sure that the employees are not able to clock in or clock out without a location being grabbed. So we're going to go ahead and turn that on and then save. So the next area I want to go to is going to be under the employee profile settings. So we're going to go ahead and go into settings and then employees. And we'll start by searching up the employee that we're looking for. In this case, it'll be myself. We'll go ahead and edit my profile. And from here, we have our language. Under language, this is where you can set it up to be a default to Spanish. So whenever they use their PIN on a device, the app will then translate everything into Spanish rather than being in a standard English format. We also have our new out sign-off requirement. With this turned on, whenever you clock out for the end of the day, it'll force the employees to sign off their time records before they can finish the clock out. The next option is going to be our in and out time photos. With this setting turned on, it'll require that the employee has a facial recognition capture at the moment of clock in and clock out to be able to verify those against what's in the system. The third setting is going to be the in and out time recognition. For those who just want to grab a photo and don't necessarily need it to match up, you can turn this on or turn this off. This will just basically turn on the facial recognition features to the time photos being captured. Now that we've reviewed some of the tips and settings, I want to go over some common issues that we may experience as far as location services go. With the devices, if you require location services to be on, and the device is not giving us a location, they will not be able to clock in and out, and they will get an error that will say location services required. We're going to show you the Apple step-by-step process to check and verify the location services is on and correct, as well as the Android version. With the Apple location services, it's a little more simpler than the Android. You'll simply go into your settings. We're going to go ahead and scroll down to the app. And then we're going to select location. Under here, we want to make sure it is at least while using the app is turned on, and we have precise location turned on as well. For Android, there's going to be a couple different steps that we want to go over as they have a few different settings in different places. We're going to go ahead and swipe down our main menu and go into the settings. From here, we're going to select location and then location services. We will want to make sure that the Google location accuracy is turned on, as well as the Wi-Fi scanning under improve accuracy. If both of these are already on, we will want to go back, and then we are going to scroll down to our apps, and then of course select the WorkMax app. Once we have the app selected, we'll go under permissions, and we want to make sure that the location services is turned on in here. Now that we have everything turned on, you will want to make sure that you close out the app and then go back into it to allow those settings to take place. From there, you should be able to clock in and clock out without any issues or any errors stating location services required. Thank you for taking your time out of your day to be able to go over the general app overview, as well as some tips and settings you may have found useful. We are happy to announce that we are currently working on background syncing for the app. As of right now, the app does only sync while it is open and has been known to cause troubles from time to time. The new feature will allow us to be able to sync unsynced time records while the app is in the background. This is either when you go to your home page in your device or if you lock the device. Once it sees that there's unsynced time records, it will attempt to send those to the website to ensure that you're getting all of your time data on time. We would also like to announce that in the future, we will be ending WorkMax 1.0, as this app is currently not receiving any updates to it, and we have not set an end-of-life date just yet. We would just like to make sure our customers are aware of why it is important to get started when they are ready to make the transition. Thank you everyone for being here today. I hope you all found this information to be helpful. If you have any further questions, please feel free to go to our website and review the Help and Training Center at workmax.com, where you can also reach out to our support team for further assistance at support@workmax.com or start a chat with one of our reps today.